What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. For all you guys that are new here, my name's Tim, and I'm a NPC men's physique competitor. So I've got an interesting topic to talk about today, guys. Something that hits really close to home for me, and I feel like it will for you as well. So we're going to be talking about contest prep struggles. So whether that be pre-contest, post-contest, all during prep, etc. Like I said, I don't feel like this kind of information is shared enough, and I like to be able to keep it real, keep it raw with you guys, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into our first point here. And don't mind me if I glance down. I do have a list that I'm going off of just to make sure I don't miss anything. So the first thing I've got down here is going to be being misunderstood. Once you start bodybuilding, especially if you're remotely serious about it, you're going to be misunderstood by a lot of your friends and a lot of your family. They're not going to understand why, it's not conducive to your bodybuilding goals to go out 5 nights a week or go to every single cookout, every single function, and, not indulge in, the crappy American diet that we have now. It's weird to them to bring your Tupperware, to bring your, eat your meals out and that kind of thing. Where maybe it's not to you, but it makes them feel a type of way, and that's honestly that's a their problem. That's a them problem. But still, nonetheless, it really sucks being misunderstood. And I say, from my experience, it's typically when you first start because it's such a drastic change. People are like, oh my god, you've never brought Tupperware to family dinner before. What's going on with this? Just a little won't hurt you, or whatever. And just over time, you'll find out who your actual friends are in the sport, and keep your circle close, so to speak. And those people will ride with you, and they'll understand. They'll get it. It won't be a weird situation every time you're on a contest prep and you're invited out somewhere and you bring a Tupperware container. So that's honestly a big struggle that I dealt with, especially early on, and I feel like a lot of new competitors, deal with, and I'm sure veteran competitors deal with this as well. But yeah, either way, that it's a struggle nonetheless. So we're going to go ahead and get into our second point here, and that is going to be realizing that people don't give a shit about your goals. So story time. I had a situation in my last contest prep where I I just lost our train of thought. Sorry, blooper here, guys. But I had a situation in my last contest prep where some of my closest family, I'll just be honest, um, my mom's always kind of been my number one fan, so to speak, or so I thought. She wasn't going to be able to make it to my show. Well, she was going to go if someone else couldn't go to, help me with my tan and, show day stuff, that kind of thing. And so it's kind of raised some red flags there for me. But it was very clear that it was like a I'll go if I have to type thing. And so I was like, okay, that's weird, whatever. But, fast forward, through prep, and we get to show day. And, at this point, we'd already made plans. My girlfriend was going to go with me and help me with the tan, etc. So my mom didn't end up going. Well, she'd asked for the a link for the live stream. I was like, sure, absolutely. Do I need to buy it? No worries. I'll take care of it if that's what you want me to do. No, everything was good. Well, go through the show, didn't really think anything else about it. And I noticed, post show, like Saturday night, Sunday morning, rolled around. And, I never even received as much as a phone call like, hey, how'd you do at the show? Did you have a good time, etc. And so I ended up talking to her like Sunday afternoon or Monday. And, still to this day, we haven't had like this conversation. But it really hurt because, I was never one of those kids in like high school that had like a sport that they were like super into. So as I've gotten older, I'm 29 now. As I've gotten older, this has become like my thing. I'm super passionate about it. I'm obsessed with this. Like it's a known thing. And like I said, I just feel like I didn't have the support system from people that were extremely I thought were extremely close to me, but and honestly, it hurt really bad. So I remember I mentioned that I'd sent over a link to a live stream. Well, I'd ask, hey, did you check the live stream out or what have you? And it was like a pause on the phone, like it was clearly forgotten about. And man, that just hurt. So keep that in mind, guys, as your own contest prep. That some people just don't give a shit about what you've got going on, and that's okay. Like I said, I'm not mad. I don't hold any grudges or anything like that. But I've accepted the fact that this is my journey, it's not theirs, and I'm going to do my thing, and you can either support that or not. And like I said, it hurts, but it's what it is. People just don't understand it if they don't have a super passion, passion for something that's super important to them. So I guess it's hard for them to relate. I don't really know, but anyway, let's go bring us into our third point here, and that is going to be self doubt. And this is something I don't struggle with all the time, but it's something I do struggle with from time to time. Um, and self doubt, not so much like, am I consistent, or, am I going to check all the boxes day to day? Not like that, but more like, do I have what it takes to do well at this sport? Because me personally, my ultimate dream is to become an IFBB pro. I feel like that is, the vast majority of NPC competitors, lifelong dream. Now, don't get me wrong, I am realistic in the fact that I don't think I'll ever see, the Olympia stage. But I do feel like, with a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication, I do have what it takes to go pro. Now, I'm also very realistic in the fact that I might not have the absolute best genetics. I feel like I'm fairly average in, the genetic department. I don't, put on muscle super fast or super slow. My metabolism is in a good spot, but it's nothing just crazy. And I don't lose fat at a crazy rate or a very slow rate. So it's kind of median, even keel, so to speak. So I understand that it will take me longer than, a genetic freak. And that's okay. I'm totally cool with that. But, looking at an immediate short term, it's like, man, can I really do this for the next 10 years? Just for a potential, maybe to go pro at some point. And that's something I really struggle with. It's like, is it worth it at the end of the day? And then I'll usually have that moment for a little bit, and I'll let myself have the moment. Then I snap back into reality. I'm like, look, screw that, screw the negative talk. Let's work today. We can't control the future, just like we can't control who shows up to these shows. We can't control the future. Just bring your best day in and day out, and that's all you can do. So keep that in mind as you're having those self doubts. Especially like for me when I'm like transitioning into a long off season. I'm like, man, I've got 18 months, 2 years. Do I really want to stay consistent for this long? Is it worth it? And day after day, you just like Hunter Labrada says, win the day, and that's something that's been very helpful for me. Just kind of keeping that mindset and staying positive, and just sometimes you got to hype yourself up and tell yourself that you're a bad motherfucker and you got this. You're going to crush this workout. You're going to crush your diet this week, whatever it is. But staying consistent and staying positive has been honestly what's helped me get through that. So to bring us to our next point here, um, feeling like you're missing out on certain aspects of life. Especially, this is not so, this doesn't hold as true in the off season just because you have more balance, but especially on a contest prep, especially if you start, 20 weeks out, it gets real easy to get kind of down in the dumps when food gets low, or certain drugs come into play, that kind of thing. It's like, man, I'm missing out on valuable family time because you're at the gym doing your cardio, or you're at the gym doing your training sessions, or whatever it is. You're missing out on going to these birthday parties because you're drained. That's just a reality of the sport. Especially as you get closer to stage. Now that doesn't mean that you can't pack your meals and go to these functions, but it's crazy because like the closer you get to stage, the less energy you have to do those kind of things, and that part of it really sucks ass. But just keep this in mind. You chose to compete. You're not a victim. You get to compete. You don't have to go do your cardio. You get to go do your cardio. Change your mindset with things, guys. And it helped me realize that I'm not missing out. I'm blessed to be able to get to go do these things. So I'm going to bring us into our next point here, and that's going to be transitioning from a contest prep to an off season. Now, this one, guys, has been on the forefront for me the last few weeks. So I competed back in June, June the 8th, and as you're seeing this, it's early September. It is September the 3rd. So at the time of recording, that is. And so what are we, like 10 to 12 weeks post show now? And something that I've really struggled with is watching the scale, trending upwards. So we go through a dieting phase for 20, 22 weeks, whatever long your prep is, and you'll get hyper fixated. At least I did, constantly wanting to hit that new low, new low weigh-ins. You lost an inch off your waist, you lost a quarter inch off your quads, or wherever you hold fat. You're you're trending downwards. You do that for half the year, essentially the better part of half the year, 5 months, and all of a sudden one day goes by, show day, and you start immediately regressing the other direction. And for me, that's a really hard transition. It's something I struggle with a lot. Even though in my brain I'm fully aware that that's what's supposed to happen, as we reverse diet out. Like my coach and I, we do follow reverse, and I'm only up 7 pounds, 8 pounds this morning, um, in 12 weeks. So, like I said, I'm not getting fat by any means. I still have my abs all day and all that good stuff, but I'm definitely not as lean. And it's so hard looking at yourself in the mirror coming out of a show prep, coming out of a show day as you're transitioning that off season. And no one really talks about that, but it is honestly, it's really tough mentally because I don't know about you guys, but personally, I tend to see all the negatives in my physique. You know, I see that, oh, I'm holding a little fat in my love handles, or my lower abdomen is, watery, or my lower back is watery, that kind of thing. You don't see the fact that you still got a six pack all day. You've still got separation in all three heads of your delts, or your quads are still cross striated. You don't see any of that. You tend to focus on the negatives, which is honestly a terrible approach. You still need to be thankful for the body that you have and the physique that you have. And yeah, it's just like I said, just have a different mindset. Just know that the scale is going to trend up. Your waist measurement is going to slightly increase, week to week. Now, don't get me wrong, your scale shouldn't be shooting up 20 pounds a week, or 2 inches on your waist, but a nice slow stable progression, as your coach guides you in, bumping your nutrition up and hormones come out and that kind of thing. It's going to happen, guys. It's okay. But I understand too, it's very taxing mentally, watching that kind of stuff happen. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up here. If you guys would like to see a part two, drop it down in the comments. I would love to bring you guys what you want to see. So definitely like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. You guys have a good one. Peace.